I don't know. Angel Reese. She might have tapped out, y'all. Angel Reese may have tapped out and quit on the Chicago Sky. Everybody is speculating. What is this back injury? What's going on? Hey.
Angel Reese just walked out on the Chicago Sky. Again, no warning, no sugarcoating, just straight up quit. Fans are furious, teammates are stunned, and the drama is messier than a reality TV reunion. Is this the end of her WNBA run or the start of her biggest stunt yet? What happened behind the scenes is jaw-dropping. And trust me, you're not ready for it.
The world wants to know. The whole world is wondering, where in the world is Batman? I'm joking. I want to know, as Chicago Sky fans, women's basketball, WNBA, Angel Reese fans, where in the world...
Angel Reese quitting on the Chicago Sky is about as surprising as learning that the sun rises in the east. I called this weeks ago, but now everyone's clutching their pearls like it's the sports scandal of the decade. Please, this isn't a shock. It's just Angel being Angel, fiercely committed to fame, but tragically allergic to actual hard work. She's not here to grind out wins or dive for loose balls. She's here to strut for the cameras, rack up social media likes, and soak in the headlines. The second it's time to put in real effort, she's gone, disappearing faster than a free throw in the fourth quarter when the pressure's on.
I find it very symbolic, very almost funny, but not funny. Not funny, haha, but funny, sad. That out of all the bodily injuries that Angel Reese, a player, could experience, she's experiencing a back injury. Her back is literally hurting. And is it because that she is tired of carrying the weight of the Chicago Sky on her back, being that floor general and that floor leader? Did the Chicago Sky break Angel Reese's back?
This whole Rookie of the Year debate between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, please, that was never close. It was only close in the same way I'm close to buying a $20 million mansion, purely hypothetical and existing only in the minds of people desperate to sell a juicy narrative. The media kept milking it because drama drives clicks, and Clark runs away with it, doesn't get eyeballs. But if we're being honest, Reese's name stayed in the conversation because she's a walking headline. She's loud, she's flashy, she stirs the pot, and that plays well on social media. But the game tape, the stats, they weren't screaming dominance, they were politely whispering, maybe next year.
Listen, everybody is ablaze right now. Everybody's wondering, what is really going on with Angel Reese? Has she just flat out quit again? Has she quit on the Chicago Sky? Angel, you have to have some level of self-awareness here. Last year with the Chicago Sky, you quit. You threw in the towel. Once you realized you never stood a chance, to be honest, with Caitlin Clark for that Rookie of the Year. But once you realized your double streak was over, and it was over. She took over post-Olympic break. Once you realized it was done.
And you know who I blame for this whole circus? Everyone who kept propping her up like she was the second coming of basketball greatness for doing the bare minimum. Every commentator who acted like a double-double in garbage time was some once-in-a-generation miracle. Every fan who mistook a few flashy poses and side-eye for actual leadership. You fed the hype machine until it got so big it needed its own jersey number. You turned basic effort into a Hall of Fame moment, and now the Chicago Sky are learning the painful truth. When you hand the keys to someone who doesn't even want to drive, don't be shocked when the whole season ends up parked in a ditch.
Yeah, she did wear the villain role on her sleeve, no doubt about that. She didn't do a lot to help herself when she was winning the NCAA championship last year against Iowa, and she was taunting Caitlin Clark. But did we forget that Caitlin Clark had been doing the same thing to numerous opponents throughout that season last year? That it wasn't until she was humbled in that national championship game against LSU that she dialed it back a little bit? You can't want to be the villain. You can't pride yourself in being the villain, and then you lose, and all of a sudden you succumb to those emotions. That is true to some degree. But usually when you lose and you have an opportunity to sit back and reflect, there's a mountain of emotions that get heaped on your shoulders, and it's hard to hold it in. Not to mention when teammates are coming to your defense because they realize how the insults against you have been so personal.
Chicago isn't home for Angel. It's just Maryland 2.0, another flashy pit stop on her never-ending Look at Me tour. She's already peeking over the fence for her next LSU, a ready-made, already stacked roster where she can parachute in, let the real grinders handle the sweat and bruises, and then strike a pose for the victory photos. That's her entire game plan. Skip the foundation work, avoid the blueprints, and slide straight into a move-in ready championship house. She's not the mastermind, the builder, or the engine of success. She's the tenant who shows up after the hard work is done, rearranges the furniture, and then brags about how great her place looks.
Making this something that isn't. She's got a back injury. Like, I'm not going to be out here saying that Angel Reese needs to go out and play through a damn back injury. I just don't think is the case, especially when your team is as bad as it is. Like, absolutely just stinking it up constantly. Like the Chicago Sky stink.
The Sky screwed themselves by drafting her. They didn't just buy a ticket to the Angel Reese show. They bought season tickets, front row, for every dramatic exit and every "I'm not feeling it" moment. And if Reese threw in the towel, you can bet it would take at least 4 tries for it to land anywhere near the court. And yes, I made myself laugh with that one. The truth is, Reese plays basketball for herself. Period. Not for her teammates, not for the fans, and definitely not for the franchise. She wants the attention, the endorsement deals, the interviews, the Instagram likes. And when things get hard, poof, she's gone. Caitlin Clark is the complete opposite. You can see it in the way Clark plays. She doesn't need to be the loudest person in the room because she's the one hitting the shots that make the room explode. Meanwhile, Reese is over in the corner checking if the lighting is good for her post-game outfit shot. One of these rookies is building a career, the other is building a brand and hoping nobody notices the difference.
You threw in the towel, said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year. You threw in the towel and said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year and didn't play again. This past the inaugural season of Unrivaled, you didn't even finish that season. You didn't even show up for the championship. No, not only did you not play, you didn't even show up to the game at all. People noticing a pattern with you. That's 2 seasons in a row.
And let's talk about leadership for a second. True leaders carry the weight of the team. They take responsibility when things go wrong and share credit when they go right. Reese, she's allergic to accountability. You won't catch her saying, "Yeah, that one's on me." Instead, it's a whole lot of shrugging and side-eye, like the problem is everyone else. And to be fair, when your plan is to ride coattails, you can't admit you're the one slowing the horse down. It's no wonder she's looking for her next exit. Chicago needs a builder, not a passenger. But Reese is a permanent passenger. She wants the comfort, the perks, the parade, but not the 6 a.m. workouts or the film sessions that make champions. And the scary part? She's still going to get more attention for quitting than half the league gets for winning. That's the upside of being a brand-first athlete. The headlines keep coming whether you show up or not. The thing about quitting twice is it stops being a shock and starts becoming your resume. Angel Reese has officially entered the territory where no one's even surprised anymore. You quit on your team once, okay, maybe there's a story there. Twice? That's who you are. It's not an accident, it's a lifestyle choice. She's basically the WNBA's Houdini, the great disappearing act, except without the mystery.
Listen, Angel Reese has thrown in the towel. She refuses to travel with the team. Once again, the team has a road game. We already saw she refused to travel with the team to Indiana versus the Fever. Now they head to Connecticut to take on the worst team in the league. Yes, they finally went against a team that is worse than them, the Connecticut Sun.
And here's the kicker. Even with all this drama, she'll still find a way to spin it as some big self-care or empowerment moment, because that's what plays well on social media. She'll be on a podcast next week talking about how she had to protect her peace, and there will be people eating it up, completely ignoring the fact that her peace was apparently threatened by doing her actual job. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out there eating minutes like they're oxygen, taking bumps, drawing double teams, and still delivering. Clark isn't looking for the next LSU. She's trying to build her own dynasty from scratch. Chicago Sky fans deserve better than a player who treats the season like a side hustle. They deserve someone who shows up when the lights are bright and when the arena's half empty. Someone who puts in the work when no one's watching. And Angel Reese? She's not that player. She's the star of her own movie, and unfortunately, the rest of the team is just set decoration. If the Sky were smart, they'd take this as a lesson. Stop drafting based on hype and start drafting based on heart. Because hype fades fast and heart is what wins you games in the fourth quarter. Hype gets you headlines in July, heart gets you trophies in September.
Nobody knew what had happened on the day, nothing had happened, then somebody got into Angel Reese's ear to say that this happened, and she then doubled and tripled down, saying that something happened even though she didn't hear it herself. And then she's there reposting tweets or reposting TikToks saying that Gamebridge is dangerous for her and it's a danger if she goes to Gamebridge and all of this crap. So Angel has done all.
The sad part is Reese has the talent. She's not some random player off the street. She has skills, size, and the potential to dominate. but talent without effort is like a sports car without gas. Looks great in the driveway, doesn't go anywhere. She's more interested in being seen driving it than actually winning the race. So no, I'm not shocked she quit again. I said it weeks ago, and I'll say it again now. Angel Reese doesn't want to play ball. She wants to be famous. If she ever does find her next LSU, I hope the team knows what they're getting, because history says she'll smile for the cameras, ride the wave when things are good, and then vanish the second the tide turns. That's the Angel Reese experience. No refunds, no exchanges, no championships guaranteed. Angel Reese has been playing this game, and I don't mean basketball, for a long time. The "I'm here for the fame, not the grind" routine is practically her signature move. Forget the Eurostep, forget the no-look pass. Her real highlight play is the vanishing act right when her team needs her most. And yet, people keep acting like she's a misunderstood star, just waiting for the right moment to shine. Number. This is the right moment, and she's walking away from it again.
Some speculation going on saying, like, of course, because she has injured her back, unfortunately, at the tender age of 23, might I add, that she is still going through the rehabilitation process. But people are so anxious to see just when exactly will Angel Reese return in this current 2025 season. Because again, guys, today is what, August 14th. The freaking playoffs is just some weeks away, and we all know, again, we got to have that come to Jesus moment. If you haven't had it yet, come here, come to me. We can have it together. Listen, look at me in my eyes and see that I ain't lying. We're not going into the playoffs, guys. I'm sorry.
This is what happens when you build a player's brand before you build their resume. From day one, Reese was treated like a cultural phenomenon rather than a developing rookie. Every time she scored, it was plastered all over social media with flashy graphics and hashtags. Meanwhile, the actual numbers told a much quieter story, but the hype machine doesn't care about context, it cares about clicks, and Angel delivered those by the truckload. It's not that she's incapable of playing at a high level, it's that she's unwilling to do it when it requires sustained effort. The Rookie of the Year race between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese was never close. I'll say it again because apparently it needs repeating. It was only close on paper because the media needed drama. Clark is out there putting up historic numbers, carrying a team, and elevating everyone around her. Reese, she's out there curating an Instagram feed. The work ethic gap between the two could swallow half the league. You don't even have to be a diehard fan to see it. Watch one game. Clark runs the floor like every possession is her last. She takes charges, she dives for loose balls, she fights through screens. Reese, she jogs through plays like she's pacing herself for a fashion show walk-off. And when the game starts slipping away, Clark digs in, Reese checks out.
We did a show early in the week about Jason Whitlock talking about she quit on the Chicago Sky. She gave up on the WNBA. She really don't want to play basketball. And this is all surrounding around her back injury.
Chicago Sky fans bought into the hype because they were sold the idea that Reese was going to be a franchise cornerstone. But instead of a foundation, they got a billboard. Flashy, eye-catching, but not actually holding anything up. You can't build around someone whose commitment has a half-life shorter than a TikTok trend. And here's where it gets really painful. Chicago isn't LSU. They don't have the same talent cushion. At LSU, Reese could ride the wave because she was surrounded by players who could carry the load. In the WNBA, every team is stacked with elite talent, and if you're not pulling your weight, it shows. Fast. The Sky didn't need a passenger, they needed a driver. They drafted someone who wanted to be chauffeured. I said weeks ago she was going to quit. It wasn't clairvoyance, it was pattern recognition. She's been looking for an exit since the moment the season stopped being about her. And now she's making that exit again, while her teammates are left holding the bag. And let's be clear, this isn't just about winning or losing. This is about respect for the game. If you love basketball, you show up whether you're up by 20 or down by 30. You fight through slumps, you push through bad shooting nights, you take the criticism, and you come back stronger. You don't ghost your team when things get tough. That's not leadership. That's self-preservation disguised as empowerment.
Oh, the grace from the basketball gods and goddesses that we cannot beat the Connecticut Sun. Do you know the Connecticut Sun is ranked number 13 in the WNBA league? There's 13 teams. They're ranked dead last. Whereas we, the Chicago Sky, we're ranked number 11. Now, granted, yes, this happened at their court today, okay? It was the Connecticut Sun's home game. That's no excuse. And
meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is the embodiment of showing up. She doesn't coast on reputation, she earns it every game. And that's why, no matter how many debates the media tries to manufacture, Clark is already pulling ahead in ways that can't be measured in stat sheets alone. She's building trust, she's proving her worth, and she's making it impossible to question her commitment. If Reese thinks she can keep bouncing from team to team until she finds another LSU situation, she's in for a rude awakening. The Sky made their bed when they drafted her, and now they're lying in it. And it's about as comfortable as sleeping on a pile of game day towels that never made it to the laundry. They wanted a star. They got a soap opera. And the sad part? This was preventable. All the warning signs were there. She's not quitting because she's burned out from carrying the team. She's quitting because she's tired of not being the center of the universe. If the cameras aren't on her, the interest evaporates. And that's fine if you're in reality TV, but in pro sports, attention follows performance, not the other way around.
Tyler Marsh gives a major update surrounding around Angel Reese's back injury, and you guys are not going to believe what he said.
Some people will still defend her, saying she's just figuring things out or still young. Sure, she's young. So is Clark. The difference? Clark is figuring out how to win games, not how to win headlines. At some point, youth stops being an excuse and starts being a convenient cover for bad habits. And the towel joke? I stand by it. If Reese threw in the towel, it would take at least 4 tries for it to land anywhere near the court. Because just like her commitment, her aim is inconsistent. She's a brand ambassador masquerading as a basketball player, and every quitting episode just reinforces that. Chicago deserves players who bleed for the team, who take pride in the jersey, who treat every possession like it matters. Change requires work, and work isn't part of her current game plan. She's too comfortable playing the role of misunderstood star, the victim of unfair expectations, the rebel who walks away on her own terms. The irony is, she could be great. She could silence every critic by locking in, grinding, and proving she's more than the drama. But greatness requires sacrifice, and right now, the only thing she's willing to sacrifice is practice time.
It's Angel Reese. Okay, of course she was missing in last night's game, where we ultimately, the Chicago Sky, we got defeated by the Connecticut Sun, the worst ranked team in the league currently. They're the worst ranked team. And on top of that, we see 3 ejections. And on top of those 3 ejections made from the game, we see Angel Reese on Twitter cackling and kikiing and giggling, talking about if I was there on the court and God just be knowing, not to put me in certain situations. I'm like, okay, but girl, sister girl, Miss Thing, where is you at?
So no, I'm not surprised she's quit again. This isn't news, it's confirmation. Angel Reese doesn't want to play ball. She wants to be famous. And in today's world, she can probably keep doing that without ever stepping back on the court. But one day, the likes will slow down, the endorsements will dry up, and the only thing left will be her record. And that's not something you can filter or Photoshop your way out of. And that's the part nobody's telling her. Fame without foundation fades. Caitlin Clark is proof of that. She's not chasing the spotlight. The spotlight's chasing her because she's putting in the kind of effort that demands attention. If Reese doesn't want to do the same, that's her choice. But let's stop pretending she's something she's not. She's not a franchise savior, she's not the face of the league, and she's definitely not interested in the grind it takes to earn those titles. She's a personality in search of a platform, and Chicago just found out the cost of giving her one.
Trash. She refused to travel with the team to Connecticut, obviously showing a complete lack of leadership. Man. Caitlin Clark's been hurt. She traveling with the team, supporting on the bench. You're supposed to be there with your troops. You're supposed to be there with your troops, cheering them on. Feet, you know what I'm saying? Giving them that energy from the bench, from the sideline, whatever. She not even traveling with the team, y'all.
The Sky's season will go on with or without her. And honestly, they might be better off without the distraction. Because a team without a true leader can still find one. But a team built around someone who's not invested is doomed from the start. So here we are, once again, watching the same show with the same ending. Angel Reese has quit. Again. And the only people surprised are the ones who weren't paying attention the first time. And the wildest part? There's going to be a team out there willing to roll those dice again. Because in sports, people think they can fix players with flashy resumes and messy reputations. But you can't teach hunger. You can't coach someone into wanting it. Either you're built for the grind or you're not. And Reese, she's not.